Hello ladies and gentlemen. In this video I am going to be going over how to create a basic project in Unity. This is just like the very first thing that you are going to do whenever you're starting out in Unity. Some of you guys may not have Unity Hub downloaded as yet, but if you're installing it just now, you probably do. You want to make sure that you have a version of Unity installed. If you don't, you can click on add and it'll ask you what version you want to add and you can just install that. So in order to create a new project, you are going to go to projects. I have a bunch of projects already created, and what you're going to do is click on new. And in this tutorial, I'm just going to do a quick overview of what these two main options are. If you want to create a 2D project, you're going to select 2D. If you want to create a 3D, you're going to select a 3D. So and these are some stuff that you guys probably don't want to worry about right now starting out in Unity. So for this demo, I'm going to choose 2D. We are going to be covering what the overall interface looks like for a 2D project. You're going to name your project 2D demo, and this is going to be focused on how to create UIs for a 2D project. So I'm going to call it 2D demo UI. The next thing that you want to do is select a location for where you want your project to be. So I am going to go ahead and click on those three dots there and select say a location, and I'm going to call this Unity Demos, and I'm going to select this folder, and inside you see that the path has been updated here. And inside that folder, it's going to create something called the 2D Demo UI. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Create. And when I do that, Unity will take almost forever to open a new project. It imports like all the necessary packages for us and sets up the first scene for us, basically. So I'm just going to give it some time to do that, and wait for it, and wait for it, and there you go. This is our basic project. Now your layout may not look like this. You may have something that actually looks like this. Now I personally don't like this layout very much because it is not very efficient, where you have to go all over your screen to click on stuff and you just have your scene view. I like to have my scene view on one side, my game view on one side, and all the properties and components that I need to edit and files I need to access on one side. So I am going to go ahead and change that, and I normally go with a 2x3, and when I do that, it gives me the hierarchy, the project, the inspector, the scene, and the game. So these are the different windows that I'm just going to go over in a bit as to what they are. So just for efficiency, I like to have my project docked down here. And now we have this interface, which to me is the most efficient way of working. So just to go over what these different tabs are, we have our scene view, in which anything that we have within our game scene, we will add here. Then we have our game view. This shows us what the main camera, what the user will be seeing within our entire environment. So think of this as like the entire world, and then this as what the player is seeing currently based on their position. And in our hierarchy, this is all of the stuff that we have in our scene by default. So this says that this is a sample scene now, and it has an arrow next to it. So if I click on this arrow, it'll show me what's in it. So this basically indicates that there's something within this that exists, and I can look at it when I expand this. It's kind of like a folder that I can open up and see what's within it. I have a main camera, and when I click on the main camera, you see that it got selected. Now if I double click on it, it'll bring that object that I have selected into focus. The other thing that I'm going to go over is the project folder here, the project tab, and you see that it has something called assets, and starting out it has something in it called scenes, and then it has something called packages. Now you don't need to worry about the packages right now. The most important thing is our assets folder. Now remember when we created our project, we chose a location. Now I'm going to show you guys what happened and why it took so long for it to load. So I believe I created in this folder, and I called it Unity Demos, and it's called a 2D Demo UI. So you see it's already created all of these folders for us. We have our library, logs, packages, project settings, temp files, and then we have our assets. Now anything and everything that we want is going to be in our assets folder. So and that means our scripts, our graphics, like if we're using any sprites and animations and whatnot. So just to show you guys what this means, in our scenes we already have something called the sample scene. Going back to my assets, if I were in Finder or Explorer, Windows if you're using Windows, if I were to create something within this folder and call it, say, sprites, you will see here that the project automatically updates. This is what our root folder is. If you're ever sharing your project with somebody, this is what you are going to be compressing and sharing. So you're going to compress this and share it with your professor or whoever you're working with. And there's another way of creating these folders. You can go into your project directly, and you can right click, and you can go here on create, and you can create a folder. And we're going to call this folder, say, scripts. Those are the most essential things that you have in a project. Structure is extremely important whenever working in Unity or any project. That's extremely crucial that you follow a proper naming convention and everything is structured right. So what I'm going to do is, after we've created these folders, I'm going to show you how to drag and drop stuff in here or how to import assets in here. So another thing that you will notice is whenever I click on something, this is our inspector. It shows what we have selected. If I were, and this is a folder, so it says that I can open this folder. So if I were to click on that, it'll show me what's in it. If I were to click on that, it'll open up the scene here. But if I were to click on an object that's within my scene, say a camera, it'll show me more attributes or components that are attached to that game object. So this is where we do a lot of the tweaking. So that's the overall interface. I believe I did go over what we have in our scene and what our game view is. So that's the main tabs that we need to know starting out in Unity. I will go over how to create a basic UI and how to add buttons and sprites and scripts in my next demos. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.